Aloha boys and girls, and welcome back to HINature with the Hawaii Nature Center, episode 3 of Healthy Habitats. I'm Mr. Taylor, of course accompanied with my awesome friend, Homer the Chameleon, and our fun adventure tour guide, Mr. Davis.
Hello there!
So last week we explored a stream habitat, and Mr. Davis and I went fishing. But today we're gonna go hiking through the Makiki forest. We're gonna see lots of different types of plants, maybe even some animals. And like I said before, we might even discover a cave.
Ooh. Wait! Before we go out hiking, always safety first. So today we have our little first aid kit, and inside of our first aid kit, of course, you have bandages, band-aids, some clean paper towels, soapy water, and some hand sanitizer. You can opt in and put some bug spray because there are lots of mosquitoes, okay? Also, water. Always bring lots of water to drink. Stay hydrated as you go up into the mountains. I bring a big water bottle to stay prepared, okay? And we also took the safety precaution of letting our friends know where we're going hiking. Always want to make sure we know the area really well. A good pair of shoes. I went with a light old tennis shoes. Okay, sometimes you can wear big old boots, but today we're not going too far, so I opted out on some light shoes. And last but not least, we're gonna bring some binoculars, okay? Because Mr. Taylor and I have decided that we're gonna go bird watching from our little secret cave. Okay, so here's some binoculars. You don't need to have binoculars if you want to go hiking. All you need is a good attitude. Okay, so let's go have some fun.
So today, as we're hiking, we want to use a lot of our senses. Of course, we're going to use our eyes, right, to look and see where we're going, and also look at all the amazing wildlife that is around us. We're going to use our ears because sometimes we can't see the birds, but we can hear them. We want to use our nose, right, and smell all these natural fragrances that surround us. Yeah, we're going to save our taste for lunchtime. Yeah. But we also can use our fingers and feel the different textures of leaves and bark and even bugs and soil. Might get a little gross, but remember to use all of your senses when you're out exploring.
On our hike, we've come across some pig tracks. Okay, it looks like a bunch of pigs were kind of rooting up something to eat, and that's where we see some good examples of the little hoof prints. Pretty cool.
As we're hiking through this Makiki forest, you're probably thinking to yourself, hey Mr. Taylor, aren't there lots of different types of forests out there in the world? And yes, you're right. There are huge forests, something like a boreal or taiga forest. It is the largest land ecosystem in the whole world. In Asia, places like Alaska, even Canada. There's another forest called a temperate forest. There are trees like oak trees and maple trees. Even porcupines and woodpeckers would live there. And then of course, my favorite, rainforest. Why do they call it a rainforest? Well, because they get tons of rain, up to 400 inches of rain a year. And there are the most species of plants and animals in rainforests in all of the world. But today, we're in a special forest. Can you remember what forest it is? We call this forest a mesic forest.
Oh wow, Mr. Taylor, look what I just found.
Whoa, what's that?
This is a female Jackson Chameleon. She looks a little stressed out because she's dark, but we can tell it's a female because she lacks those 3 horns, just like what Homer has.
Yeah, we have horns. Oh, Homer.
Yeah.
We've come to our secret cave in Makiki. How cool is it? Now we're talking about different types of habitats. And in habitats, there are things called microhabitats where other plants and animals can live. So a cave would be a microhabitat in a forest, right? A cave provides what one of those four essential needs for living things. If you're thinking about shelter, you're right. A cave provides awesome shelter, even for a human being, right? Wow. This is a great place where we can use all of our senses, right? When you're bird watching, you want to be really quiet because we might be able to hear the birds and it can give us hints on where to look with our binoculars. I have my binoculars here. I'm going to take them out of the case. A nice piece of equipment, so we want to make sure that we care for it. I'm going to unwrap it. Make sure you put the strap around your neck. I'm going to pop out these eye holes and I can adjust the binoculars, and in the center is our focus, okay? Now, let's see what we can find. Oh, Mr. Davis! I think I see a white-rumped Shama thrush.
Where?
12 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
My 12 or your 12?
My 12.
Whoa, Mr. Taylor! I see a ring-necked parakeet!
Wow, those things are super green.
Oh, cool! Now I see a red-vented bulbo!
Wow, you should check out what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a red-crested cardinal.
Cool! Oh, now I see a zebra dove!
Wow, there's lots of birds out here, Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
So up at the cave, we are looking at different types of birds. Can you think of what type of shelter a bird makes for their babies? If you were thinking of a nest, of course, you're right? And birds make all different types of nests. Some nests that go on the ground, some nest high in trees. Now, on our hike, we have found a couple of nests up in the trees. So let's go take a look at those nests. Right up here. And I think it's empty. So we're gonna inspect it. Now, a nest, how do you think a bird makes the nest? Do you think it uses its hands and fingers? Of course not, right? So the bird uses its body parts, such as its beak, right? And its legs to pat it around. Do you think you could make a nest like this with your mouth? I don't think I can either. It's quite the task. An amazing task, if you ask me. This nest is so important because it protects the eggs that the bird lays. When the bird lays eggs in a nest, it's called a clutch, right? And so it could be a couple of eggs, right? Or it could be up to about 5 eggs, just depending on the species of bird. Wow. Now that we've come out of the cave and seen some pretty cool birds, we're gonna go check out the plants of a mesic forest. Whew, that was a close one.
All right, so today Mr. Taylor has been focusing on the mesic forest. And if we take a look around, there are tons of different types of plants in the forest. All right, we see trees, vines hanging off of them, and on the forest floor, we can find lots of different types of ferns. If we take a look, we're off the trail a little bit, we have lawa'e, okay? And lawa'e is a type of fern. Instead of starting its life cycle as a seed, it uses something very special called spores. If you flip up the leaf underneath, you can see that dust that dust-like substance is its spores, which it floats around throughout the forest floor, and that's how it spreads. Okay, and we're in a big old little white patch right here.
Well, right behind me is the famous banyan tree. It's native to India, but it's pretty famous here in Hawaii because of its long aerial roots that hang from the branches, and it allows this tree to spread out over a large amount of area. Now these aerial roots though also can take over different plants that hang underneath it. So it's known as the strangler tree as well. Quite the nickname, huh? So another popular tree we find in our mesic forest is the Kukui Nut Tree. You might ask, why is the Kukui Nut Tree popular? Well, for one thing, it's our state tree of Hawaii. It is also known as a canoe plant. So ancient Hawaiians brought it here with them on their canoes. The Kukui Nut Tree is also known as the candle nut tree because the nuts produce an oil that is flammable and it produces a flame. Very useful. You might see kukui nuts are popular lei too. So kukui nuts are all around, especially in our mesic forest. So we've made it back safe and sound from our forest exploration. Now it's time for us to make a really cool craft. Okay, boys and girls, so it is time to make our craft. And our craft today is a terrarium. Take a look at the one we have here. What? You might be wondering to yourself, what is a terrarium? Mr. Taylor, I've heard of an aquarium, but not quite a terrarium. So a terrarium is a self-sustaining closed ecosystem. So we are going to take the plants that we found today in our mesic forest, and we're going to copy that or mimic it by creating that in a smaller container. Now, this one's pretty big. We reused it from a lot of pretzels that we ate. I ate so many. But you can use any type of container, and I have another example over here, and this is the one that we're going to use today to mimic something that looks like that, okay? Once you've found your jar that you need, we'll need some other materials. Of course, we need some fresh soil. You can use whatever soil you like. Today we have some potting soil. You can also put cinder at the bottom of your container to help filter water. We have some palm fronds. We have some old sticks that will decompose into fresh soil. Some of my favorite things, skeleton leaves, they're just so cool. We also have a turkey tail fungus, which is a type of mushroom. Be careful with what mushrooms you use because some can be poisonous. We also have kukui nuts and a small, tiny mac nut and some sprouts. And this one's really cool because it's actually sprouting from a kamani seed. Last but not least, of course, we need water to top it off. Once we have all of these things in here, especially our fresh plants, you need to make sure that you water them. Let's get started. And voila, we're finished. Now you might ask yourself, Mr. Taylor, don't we need to add some holes on top so fresh air can get in? And I would tell you, guess what? We don't. Why? Because this is self-sustaining, meaning that we don't need to do anything to it. The cycles that we added in here, like water and oxygen, all work together to keep this terrarium healthy. So, could this be a home for plants? And yes, it is. It's a home for the sprouts, right? Could this be a home for Homer?
No.
Not quite, right? Homer needs a little more space to move around and find his food and water. But it could be home to different types of decomposers like worms or bugs that live in the soil, right? Now, if you're lucky, all these cycles will work together and keep this terrarium healthy for years upon years. I've talked to some teachers and some students, and they've said they've had terrariums in their classroom for up to 5 years, and they haven't had to do a single thing to that terrarium. The one that I showed you earlier, this one, we've had with us for 3 years, and I haven't touched it since we started. So, hopefully, yours will last a long time, but we'll just have to wait and see. Ha! I didn't even see you there. But since you are, I want to thank you for joining us of Episode 3 Hawaii Nature Center's Healthy Habitats, the Forest Edition. We saw lots of different types of bird species, we even saw tracks of pigs, and went to my favorite cave in Makiki. Now, next week, we're going to explore more of Hawaii Nature Center's natural environment. But until then, remember, always stay safe and be healthy, and we always need to give thanks to our friends, Homer the Chameleon, and our awesome guide, Mr. Davis.
See you next episode.
Aloha, I'm Todd Cullison, Executive Director of the Hawaii Nature Center. During this time of social distancing, we know it's important that your keikis and families stay connected to nature. To address this, we have developed a new online program called HINature. These educational and fun videos are a great tool to learn about Hawaii's unique natural environment and stay connected virtually. We hope you find the value in our efforts and consider making a donation to support this. The donation can be made at our website at www.hawaiinaturecenter.org. Mahalo for your continued support, and I hope that you enjoy exploring nature with the Hawaii Nature Center.